The application. Chapter 1. K. Received the letter on a Tuesday morning, though he could not recall applying for anything that would warrant such correspondence. The envelope bore no return address, only his name written in a clerk's careful hand, each letter formed with the mechanical precision of someone who had written thousands of similar addresses. You are required to appear at the Ministry of Determinations, the letter read. Room 847, 3rd subsection, Department of Provisional Assessments. Failure to appear will result in automatic classification as Category C, with all attendant consequences. K. Read this 3 times. He had never heard of the Ministry of Determinations, nor did he know what Category C meant, though the phrase attendant consequences filled him with a vague but persistent dread. His neighbor, Herr Muller, was watering his geraniums on the balcony when K. emerged with the letter. "Ah," said Muller, nodding sagely when shown the correspondence. "The ministry. Yes, I received one of those once. Terrible business. What happened?" K. asked. "Oh, I never went," Muller replied, adjusting his watering can. "Terrible mistake, that was. Now I'm Category D, you see. Can't buy cheese on Wednesdays." K. stared at him. "What do you mean, you can't buy cheese on Wednesdays?" But Muller had already retreated inside, closing his balcony door with finality. Chapter 2. The Ministry of Determinations occupied a gray building that seemed to extend infinitely upward, its windows reflecting nothing but clouds. K. arrived at precisely 9 a.m., as instructed, though the letter had not specified what time he should appear. The lobby was filled with people holding similar letters, all wearing expressions of confused resignation. A large sign read, QA, New Applications, QB, Reassessments, QC, Appeals, QD, Clarifications of Previous Clarifications. K. approached the information desk, behind which sat a thin woman with wire-rimmed spectacles. "Excuse me," K. said. "I received this letter, but I'm not sure which Q. Letter type?" The woman interrupted, not looking up from her ledger. "Letter type? What type of letter is it? Form 27B? Form 31C? Preliminary notice? Final notice? Conditional notice pending review?" K. examined his letter again. There was no form number, no classification. "I don't see any." "No classification means you need Form 12A first," the woman said, stamping something vigorously. "Windows 7. K. looked around. He could see no numbered windows, only an endless corridor of identical doorways. "Where is Windows 7? "3rd floor, blue section, after the Department of Prerequisites, but before the Bureau of Necessary Formalities." "How do I get to the 3rd floor?" The woman looked at him for the first time, her expression suggesting he had asked her to explain the nature of existence itself. "Elevator," she said, as if speaking to a child. "But you need authorization for floors above ground level." "Where do I get authorization?" Windows 7. Chapter 3. K. spent the next 4 hours in various queues, each leading to a different official who required different forms, all of which could only be obtained from other officials who were either at lunch, in meetings, or had been transferred to different departments whose locations were classified. By 2 p.m., he had acquired a temporary access permit, valid only for Tuesday afternoons, a declaration of intent to apply for consideration, and a receipt of receipt acknowledgement. He had also been assigned a case number, 4,847,291-X divided by 7B. "Now you can see Herr Klingenbach in room 847, said the official who had processed his receipt of receipt acknowledgement. "He handles all cases ending in X/7B on Tuesdays." K. found room 847 after another hour of searching. The nameplate read H. Klingenbach, Deputy Assistant to the Provisional Assessor for Matters Requiring Determination. Beneath this, in smaller text, "Tuesdays only. By appointment. No walk-ins." K. knocked anyway. "Enter." came a voice from within. Herr Klingenbach was a small man with an enormous desk covered in towers of files. Behind him, filing cabinets stretched to the ceiling, each drawer labeled with incomprehensible codes. "You're late," Klingenbach said without looking up. "Late for what? I wasn't given an appointment time." "Precisely. You should have requested an appointment time, which would have required Form 19D, which you don't have because you didn't know you needed it. Classic Category C behavior. But I haven't been classified yet." Klingenbach finally looked at Kay, his eyes magnified enormously by thick lenses. "Haven't been classified? Everyone is classified. The question is whether you know your classification or not. Ignorance of one's classification is itself a classification. What classification is ignorance of classification?" "Category E," Klingenbach said, making a note in a file. "Though if you're asking about your classification, that suggests awareness of the classification system, which would make you Category B. Unless, of course, your awareness is incomplete, in which case you'd be Category A7. Kay felt dizzy. "I just want to know why I was summoned here." "Summoned?" Klingenbach laughed, a dry sound like pages turning. "No one is summoned here. People come here because they need to be here. The ministry doesn't summon. It simply exists, and those who require determination find their way to us." "But the letter is proof that you needed to be here. Otherwise, why would you have received it?" Chapter 4. Kay left the ministry as the sun was setting, carrying a new set of forms and an appointment slip for the following Thursday, provisional, pending approval of his Tuesday visit by the Committee for Validation of Ministerial Interactions. On the street, he encountered a man in a dark coat who seemed to be waiting for him. "Difficult day?" the man asked. "You could say that. They always are, in the beginning. I'm Advocate Hult. I represent people in your situation." "What situation?" "The situation of needing representation." Hult handed Kay a business card. "I've been handling ministry cases for 15 years. I know the system." "What system?" "The system that you're now part of, whether you understand it or not. The system that sent you that letter, that brought you to room 847. That will continue to require things from you until..." Hult paused. "Until what?" "Until it doesn't." Kay looked at the business card. It was blank except for a single telephone number. "What do you charge?" "Everything," Hult said. "But payment can be arranged in installments. First consultation is free, though there is a fee for scheduling the consultation, and another fee for confirming that you are eligible for a free consultation." "How much are the fees?" "That depends on your classification. You are classified, aren't you?" Kay walked home in the dark, the blank business card in his pocket, and a growing certainty that he had stumbled into something vast and incomprehensible, a machine whose purpose was its own perpetuation, whose only product was the production of more procedures. At home, he found another letter waiting under his door. "Your application has been received and is being processed. You will be notified of the results of your application as soon as we determine what you have applied for. Estimated processing time, 6 to 8 weeks, subject to extension pending review of processing time estimates." Kay sat in his chair and stared out the window at her Muller's balcony. The geraniums were gone. Chapter 5. The next morning, Kay could not remember what he did for a living. He went to the address where he thought he worked, but the building was under construction, surrounded by scaffolding that seemed to serve no purpose other than to prevent access to the entrance. A construction worker in a hard hat approached him. "You can't stand here," the worker said. "I work here." "No one works here. The building is being renovated." "Renovated for what?" "To meet current standards." "What standards?" The worker looked confused. "The standards for buildings like this." "What kind of building is this?" "The kind that needs to meet the standards." Kay walked to a cafe and ordered coffee. The waitress, a young woman with tired eyes, brought him a cup of something that was not quite coffee, but wasn't tea either. "Excuse me," Kay said, "what is this?" "It's what you ordered." "I ordered coffee." "Coffee isn't available anymore." New regulations. What regulations? From the ministry. Which ministry? The ministry. There's only one now. K. Sip the not coffee. It tasted like bureaucracy, if bureaucracy had a flavor, bitter, with an aftertaste of endless waiting. At the next table, a man was reading a newspaper. The headline read, "Ministry announces new classification system." Beneath it, in smaller print, "All previous classifications void. Citizens must reapply for status." "Excuse me," K. said to the man. "Could I look at that paper?" The man folded it and put it in his briefcase. "You need authorization to read newspapers." "Authorization from whom?" "From the people who give authorization." "Where are they?" The man stood up, left money on the table, and walked away without answering. Chapter 6. K. returned to the ministry, but the building had changed. Where there had been gray walls, there were now beige walls. Where there had been crowds of confused people, there were now different crowds of differently confused people. The information desk was gone, replaced by a machine with a screen that read, "Welcome to the Ministry of Determinations. Please select your inquiry type. A. New inquiry. B. Follow-up inquiry. C. Inquiry about previous inquiry. D. Meta-inquiry. E. Other." K. Pressed D. Other is not a valid selection. Please choose from the available options. K. Pressed A. New inquiries require pre-registration. Do you have a pre-registration number? K. Pressed B. Follow-up inquiries require reference to original inquiry. Please enter your original inquiry number. K. didn't have an original inquiry number. He had a case number, but when he entered it, the screen displayed, "Number not recognized. Please contact the Department of Number Recognition for assistance." A woman in line behind him tapped his shoulder. "It's no use," she said. "I've been trying to get my status clarified for 3 years. Every time I come here, they tell me I need to go somewhere else. And when I go there, they tell me to come back here." "What's your status?" K. asked. "Unknown," she said. "I used to be Category B, but then they changed the system, and now I'm either Category 4 or status pending, depending on which office you ask. Last week someone told me I might not exist at all, administratively speaking." "What does that mean?" "I don't know, but I can't open a bank account, and my mail is being delivered to someone with my name who lives at my address, but isn't me." K. stared at her. "How do you know it isn't you?" The woman paused, a look of confusion crossing her face. I'm not sure anymore." Chapter 7. K. decided to visit Advocate Hult. He called the number on the blank business card, but reached a recording. "You have reached the Office of Legal Services. Your call is important to us. Please hold for the next available representative. Current wait time is approximately 47 minutes. After an hour of waiting, during which the hold music consisted entirely of the sound of papers being shuffled, someone answered. "Hold's office, this is Lenny. How can I direct your call?" "I need to speak with Advocate Hold about my case." "What case?" "The case of my situation. He said he represents people in my situation." "What situation is that?" K. realized he couldn't explain his situation because he didn't understand it himself. "The ministry situation." "Oh, a ministry case. Those are Hold's specialty. But he's not taking new clients right now." "He said he was." "When did he say that?" "Yesterday." "Yesterday, he wasn't taking new clients either." "Are you sure it was yesterday?" K. thought about it. Time had become elastic since his first visit to the ministry. Days seemed to stretch and compress unpredictably. "I think it was yesterday." "Well, I can put you on the waiting list for a consultation." "How long is the wait?" "For the waiting list?" "About 6 weeks." "For the actual consultation?" "That depends on how long you've been on the waiting list." "How long do people usually wait?" "Most people don't wait. They give up before they get to the consultation." "What happens to them?" "They get classified as self-resolved." "What does that mean?" "It means their problem solved itself by ceasing to be a problem." "How does a problem cease to be a problem?" "When the person having the problem ceases to have it." "You mean when they solve it?" "No, when they cease to have it." K hung up. Chapter 8. That evening, K found her Muller on his balcony again, though there were no plants to water. Muller, Kay, called up to him. What happened to your geraniums? What geraniums? The geraniums you were watering yesterday. Muller looked confused. I've never grown geraniums. I'm allergic to geraniums. But I saw you watering them. You must be thinking of someone else. You're her Muller, aren't you? Of course I'm her Muller. I've always been her Muller. Then who was the other her Muller? What other her Muller? Kay went inside and looked at himself in the mirror. His reflection looked back at him, but he wasn't entirely certain it was his reflection. It looked like someone who might be him, or might be someone who resembled him, or might be the reflection of someone who had once been him. He tried to remember what he had looked like before receiving the first letter, but found he couldn't. He could remember having a face, but not what that face had looked like. The telephone rang. Kay, a voice said when he answered. Yes. This is the Ministry of Determinations. We need you to come in immediately. Which department? All of them. Why? There's been a complication with your case. What kind of complication? We're not sure. That's the complication. Chapter 9. Kay arrived at the ministry to find the building completely empty except for a single janitor mopping the lobby floor. Excuse me. Kay said, where is everyone? Gone home. The janitor replied without looking up. But I was told to come immediately. When? Just now. On the phone. Phone's been disconnected for 3 days. Kay checked his phone. There was no record of any recent calls. Then who called me? Nobody called you, the janitor said. Nobody calls anybody anymore. Too expensive. But someone must have called me. The janitor stopped mopping and looked at Kay with the expression of someone who had seen everything and been surprised by none of it. Maybe you called yourself, he said. That's impossible. Is it? The janitor resumed mopping. Lots of people do it. Call themselves, I mean. Tell themselves to come in. Keep themselves busy. Better than waiting for someone else to call, isn't it? Kay considered this. But why would I tell myself to come here? Why does anyone tell anyone to go anywhere? Because that's where they need to be. But I don't need to be here. Then why are you here? Kay had no answer for this. He walked through the empty corridors, past abandoned desks and filing cabinets left open, their contents scattered on the floor. In room 847, Herr Klingenbacher's office, he found a note pinned to the door, gone to lunch. Back in 5 minutes. The note was dated 6 months ago. Chapter 10. Kay began visiting the ministry every day, though it remained empty except for the janitor. He would sit in the lobby and wait, though he wasn't sure what he was waiting for. Other people began joining him. People who had received similar letters, or different letters, or no letters at all, but who felt they should be there anyway. They never spoke to each other, these daily visitors. They sat in the lobby's uncomfortable chairs and waited, reading magazines that were years out of date or staring at the motivational posters on the walls. Patience is a virtue. Proper procedures prevent problems, and your cooperation is appreciated. One day, a woman Kay recognized from his first visit approached him. You're still coming here, she observed. Yes. Why? I don't know. Why are you? I don't know either. But I feel like I should. Do you remember what we're waiting for? The woman thought for a moment. I think we're waiting to find out what we're waiting for. And then what? Then we'll know whether we should keep waiting or not. This made sense to Kay, though he couldn't explain why. Chapter 11. The seasons changed outside the ministry building, but inside it was always the same temperature, lit by the same fluorescent lights that hummed with eternal constancy. Kay realized he had stopped going home. He slept in one of the chairs in the lobby, ate from vending machines that were somehow always stocked, and used the restrooms that were cleaned nightly by the janitor, who had become Kay's only regular companion. Don't you have somewhere to be? Kay asked him one evening. This is where I am, the janitor replied. But don't you have a home? A family. Had a family once. They got reclassified. Reclassified as what? Not my family. Kay thought about this. What were you classified as? Janitor. Is that all? It's enough. I know what I'm supposed to do. Clean the floors, empty the trash, keep the lights on. Simple. Don't you want to be something else? The janitor paused in his mopping. What would I want to be? I don't know. Anything else. Anything else is more complicated. Anything else requires forms. Chapter 12. One morning, Kay woke to find the ministry lobby filled with officials in dark suits, all carrying clipboards and looking very serious. At their head stood a tall woman with silver hair who seemed to radiate authority. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, "the Ministry of Determinations has been dissolved. Please collect your belongings and exit the building in an orderly fashion." The regular visitors, Kay, and the others who had been coming daily, looked at each other with confusion. "Excuse me," Kay said, approaching the silver-haired woman. "What happened to our cases?" "Cases? Our applications, our classifications, our situations." The woman consulted her clipboard. "All cases have been transferred to the Bureau of Transferred Cases." "Where is the Bureau of Transferred Cases?" "It doesn't exist yet. It will be established once we determine what cases have been transferred to it." "How will you determine that?" "By processing the applications from cases that need to be transferred." "How do we apply?" "You don't. The cases apply themselves." "How does a case apply itself?" The woman looked at Kay, as if he had asked her to explain the nature of gravity. "Cases that need to apply know they need to apply. Cases that don't know they need to apply don't need to apply." "How do I know if my case knows it needs to apply?" "If you have to ask, it doesn't." Epilogue. Kay stands on the street outside the building that used to house the Ministry of Determinations, watching as workers remove the sign from above the entrance. In its place, they install a new sign, "Bureau of Future Determinations, opening soon." A line is already forming outside the building. Kay recognizes some of the people in line, fellow visitors from the ministry's lobby. They nod at him as he passes, and he nods back, an acknowledgement of shared experience in something none of them can quite name. At the back of the line stands Advocate Holt. "Kay," he says, as if they had spoken just yesterday, "I see you're here for the opening." "I'm not sure why I'm here," Kay admits. "That's exactly why you should be here," Holt says. "People who know why they're here usually shouldn't be." "Are you taking clients for the new bureau?" "I haven't decided if I exist yet," Holt says. "The new system requires all advocates to reapply for existence. The application process is quite complex." "What happens if you don't exist?" "Then I can't represent anyone." "What happens if you do exist?" "Then I have to represent everyone." Kay looks at the growing line, at the people waiting patiently for something to open that will require them to apply for something they don't understand in order to achieve a status they can't define. He takes his place at the end of the line. Above them, the windows of the building reflect the sky, which is gray and seems to extend infinitely upward, filled with clouds that might be clouds or might be something else entirely, something that exists in the space between certainty and confusion, between purpose and purposelessness, in that realm where questions generate only more questions. And the only answer to any inquiry is the need for further inquiry. The line moves forward very slowly, and Kay moves with it.